What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis, including money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, and stimulus check update. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. I will keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country. Also, thanks for hitting the like button for us down below. It really helps out our YouTube channel. New data is out that shows with inflation still near 40 years high, or actually rising, 58% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck after the most recent inflation spike, including 30% of those earning $250,000 or more, which is just absolutely shocking to me. How somebody earning $250,000 or more is living paycheck to paycheck. That's lifestyle creep, I guess they call that. Um, the only way I guess I could maybe understand if you live in like New York City or San Francisco or a really high cost of living area where $1 million buys you a shoebox, right? I mean, for figuratively speaking. But those places where like $1 million buys you like a studio, one bedroom, one bathroom, maybe a studio, something like that. I can understand some of those places, and really, there are millions of people that live in those places. So I do understand, Silicon Valley, all those different places, real estate, and plus with the sky high real estate that we've seen rise over the past several years, and now with interest rates that are rising and going to continue to rise this year, they're going to possibly raise interest rates 3 more times this year. That's going to make home buying even harder for anybody that's a first-time home buyer or looking to buy a home, or even wants to refinance to try to lower their debt burden or anything like that. It's making it almost nearly impossible for anybody to refinance now at this point, unless they haven't refinanced in a long time. And if that's the case, they really missed out on really low rates. But this is kind of the inflation double or triple-edged sword at this point. Um, but wow. Yeah, 58% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck, and 30% of those earning $250,000 or more living paycheck to paycheck as well. Yeah, you can see here new data says that with inflation at 40-year highs, workers across all income levels are having a harder time making ends meet. Yeah, all income levels. Well, maybe all income levels, not all of them, but as of May, the 58% of Americans, roughly 150 million adults, are living paycheck to paycheck, according to a new Lending Club report. That's down slightly from 61% who reported living paycheck to paycheck in April, but up from 54% in May of 2021. Also note that different studies and different reports and different surveys can vary by a few percent. But you can see here it's 58% in May and 61% the month before in April, according to this report. So it is still, pretty close here. That's 150 million adults, roughly, living paycheck to paycheck. Wow. Even top income earners are saying they are stretched thin, the report found. Of those earning $250,000 or more, 30% are living paycheck to paycheck. Another recent survey from consulting firm Willis Towers Watson found estimated 36% of those earning $100,000 or more are living paycheck to paycheck as well. Quote, consumers have experienced a tough last couple of years as different factors have affected their financial lifestyle, and there seems to be little relief in sight. Yeah, and this is because with inflation, paychecks don't stretch as far as they used to be. The last inflation measure was 8.6% here in May. Now with June just ending, it's still going to take several days before we get the June numbers. But June is probably going to be somewhere around that number. It could be even higher. We have seen gas still. I mean, gas has come down a little bit here. So yeah, you can see national gas prices down to 485 on the U.S. national average. Of course, it definitely can vary by where you live. If you live in California, you're in a whole different league here. But this is definitely down, and diesel at 577, which is not really coming down that much. Remember the all-time highs here not that long ago, 501 for regular. So we're down about 15, 16 cents there. But diesel stubbornly staying high. That was at 581 also just a few weeks ago as well, but it really just a few cents within that range. So you might as well just consider it still at those all-time highs. So you can see here, I mean, I guess it's nice to see regular come down 15, 16 cents, but that's really it's really a drop in the bucket compared to how high we are. Especially when you look at the price of oil here, WTI crude down to 105. 105. Brent crude still at around 115. You can see there's a bigger disparity here between the two. The gap is around $10 a barrel here now. Most of the time it's not that high. Most of the time it's more like 5. But you can see that they've dropped pretty significantly. I mean, we're nearing $100 a barrel here, but these prices are at still near all-time highs. Like oil's at 140 or 150 a barrel. And this is why there's so many people saying that the gas companies are just gouging us. They're charging us like oil is at the highest it's ever been, 140 a barrel averaged for inflation over time, 150 or 160 a barrel, and it's not. We're at 105 a barrel. So why is gas at or really close to all-time highs? It really should be way lower, way lower. They're just charging us much, much higher prices than they should be. Yeah, and something's going to have to be done. If you watched my previous video before this, I showed you President Biden's speech on a plan that they have to do with the G7 on oil. You can I'll link you to that video here at the end of this video if you didn't get to see that. Also with what's going on with the travel industry and the air industry with delays for the holiday weekend. Whew, it's really bad already. Yeah, but also you can see here credit card balances have risen year over year, reaching $841 billion in the first 3 months of 2022, according to a separate report from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Yeah, so debt is getting really, really high as well, and that's as interest rates are going up. And interest rates are going up on credit card debt as well because that's variable. Credit cards are not locked in interest. It's not like a home mortgage where you're locked in for 30 years. Credit cards can raise rates at any given time. And a lot of credit cards are probably already raising interest rates. So if you have extra money to spare, now might be a good time to try to pay off your credit cards or try to pay off anything. If you have any credit cards with very low balances, what you can do, there's a method called the debt snowball. You can actually pay off the low balance cards and then stop using them because what that'll do is that'll free up an entire monthly payment for you. Okay, so don't necessarily, at least with this strategy, worry about the interest rate on each card because if you pay off the lowest balance card, then you can just take that card and, cut it up if you want to. If you close the account, you might take a small hit on your credit report. But if you don't have the willpower to not use it again, to not charge it up again, you might want to do that, or cut it up and just not use it again, or whatever. It depends on you. But if you pay off that account and don't use it again, or if you use it, pay it off in full every single month. If you pay it off in full, then you're not going to get any interest. So in fact, what a lot of people do, if you pay off your credit card in full every single month, you pay zero interest. Okay. And in fact, a lot of credit cards will actually give you cash back or rewards, no matter what your balance is, or if you pay it off every month. That's a way the credit cards will pay you. So you can charge, if you charge, $100 a month for gas or whatever, just as an example. But if you pay it off every month, you can actually get rewards, cash back, or whatever your card gives you, even though you pay it off every month in full. What you can do, if you want to, is set it to automatically pay in full every month. Just take the money out of your checking account. Make sure you keep enough money in your account, your checking account or savings account, wherever it's going to pull the money from. And this way, don't spend more money than you have in your account if you're going to go this route. But you can set it to auto pay in full if you want to. But what you do if you pay off a small balance card, then you free up that monthly payment if you don't use it again, if you don't use it anymore. And then you say that payment was $50, then you now have $50 of free cash flow that can use towards something else to double down on other payments. So that's called the debt snowball method, something you can use. So you don't necessarily have to worry about paying off the highest interest rate. You can do that, but the problem is if your highest interest rate card has a big balance on it, it might take you a long time to really see progress on it. Or if you have a small balance card and you can pay that off somewhat relatively quickly, you'll see instant progress, not instant progress, but you'll see progress somewhat quickly. And you'll also get a very good feeling when you pay off that card and you'll say, yeah, I did it. Now I can do it again. And then you'll have that free cash flow that you can say, I'm going to double payment on this next card because I have this free cash flow from the card you paid off. Yeah, let me know your thoughts here in the comments. So while, we have like 60% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck, that is one strategy you could maybe use to get out of a little bit of debt. Here's what White House National Economic Council Brian Deese says, some things that they could do to try to help out families. Check this out.
We heard some questions to the president on the economy, inflation, especially gas prices. For more on that, let's bring in White House National Economic Council Director Brian Deese. Brian, thank you for being on. We heard the president kind of making that connection between the gas prices and Russia, and there's sort of the overarching problem there where nobody can really put an end point to the war at this point, which is horrific in itself. But what could be the long-term impact on gas prices, even if the war does come to an end?
Well, thanks, Mika. And you heard the president speak on the global stage to the fact that these are global economic challenges, and they're stemming from, as you say, a horrific war. But you also heard a president who is resolved to take all necessary actions to protect American national security over the immediate and the long term, and also train our focus on economic security, which means doing everything that we can to try to bring inflation down. Here at home, we got today the reading for May's what's known as PCE. This is the measure of inflation that the Federal Reserve traditionally relies on most. And we saw some welcome moderation in what's known as core PCE, which is now down for 3 months in a row on an annualized basis. But we also saw that energy prices and gas prices are a principal driver of ongoing inflation. And so what the president can do and what we can do is, number one, work with our partners and allies internationally to keep as much supply onto the market while also training the economic pain onto Putin himself. And you saw the president earlier at the G7 this week bring allies together around a creative approach to do that with a price cap on Russian oil, that would really focus the economic pain on Putin himself as opposed to on global oil prices. And here at home, we can take practical steps. None of them is a silver bullet, but each of them will actually matter to families. We've already seen prices come down about 20 cents at the pump over the last 2 weeks. That's good. We need to do more. Getting rid of the gas tax for a couple of months is something the president has raised that would help. Having states follow that action as well, that would help as well. So we're just going to keep at it.
Yeah, gas prices trending down even again this morning in the futures markets as they open today. Brian, let's bring this a little bit back down to earth. It's a lot of high-level economic stuff. This weekend's going to be brutal for a lot of people, whether they're traveling by plane, but especially by car if they've got to fill up that tank and spend over $100. Can you give the American people, I know there's no date certain, but some sense of when you all see, as you look at the numbers, you look at the trends, you look at the steps you're taking, of when this may break, when prices may start to come down?
Well, first, if you look at today's data, the data that we got today, what you saw was, again, some moderation in that core number, which is a number the Fed keeps a very close eye on. So over the last 3 months, annualized core inflation was 4%. In the prior 3 months, it was 5.2%. So you see some moderation there. But with respect to gas prices, they are too high, and no amount of economic statistics is going to change that, the frustration that people will feel this weekend. Which is why we'd like to see more action. We'd like to see more action on energy prices, but also other prices that families face that would make a big difference in their lives. Prescription drugs is front and center on that. You're seeing Democrats in Congress coalesce around the need to move on allowing Medicare to negotiate prescription drug prices, bring down specific drug prices like the cost of insulin. For a typical family and their monthly budget, so many people are spending every month on prescription drugs. That would be a big deal. It would make a big difference, and we're hoping that we can make progress on that, as well as other measures like lowering energy costs, lowering utility bills for Americans over the course of the next month.
Yeah, let me know your thoughts here in the comments. Speaking of lowering the cost of prescription drug pricing and lowering the cost of healthcare, you can see here healthcare, Democrats rev up their drug pricing push. There is some small revisions that Senate Democrats have made to their prescription drug pricing plan to lower these costs for Americans. And Democrats are hoping to have another go at it, including in a larger economic legislative package, perhaps as in the Build Back Better package or whatever they're going to call it. Revised pricing plan and a push for a larger package, a measure to lower prescription drug pricing, and President Biden's larger economic package are alive for the moment. Senate Democrats are submitting a revised proposal to lower prescription drug pricing for a key procedural review in the coming days as they press forward with preparations for a vote on Biden's economic package, which could be basically, like I said, Build Back Better or whatever version that they call it. Lawmakers have made some revisions to a deal to lower prescription drug prices and a plan to submit it to the Senate parliamentarian in the coming days for a review of whether it can pass muster with the chamber's complicated rules for avoiding a Republican filibuster, a source familiar with it said. There does not appear to be drastic changes to the drug pricing provisions that passed the House as part of the package in November, but did not get voted on in the Senate after a deal was reached with a group of moderate Democrats, including Senator Kirsten Sinema. Joe Manchin is unknown on this yet, but he has been speaking with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer apparently multiple different times, and they just have not told us publicly everything that they've been talking about. So who knows if they've already agreed on this or not. The basics, this would allow Medicare to negotiate lower prices for a limited subset of older drugs. There's actually a lot of them here. Basically, it's most drugs that are more than like 6 or 7 years old that come to market. Prevent prescription drug companies from raising prices faster than inflation, which is a really good thing. Cap out-of-pocket drug costs for seniors on Medicare at $2,000 per year. And also a lot of this would be covered for people not on Medicare also on private insurance as well. This is something that could lower the cost for over 100 million adults. If you take prescription drugs, this could lower the cost, which the majority of adults do. And it also could lower your healthcare costs. It could lower the cost of Medicare Part B premiums. We think about the premiums that went up last year. Remember that increase last year that went up like $21 for Medicare Part B. They're now saying that it was somewhere around like half of it went up just because of Alduhelm, that one prescription for Alzheimer's, because it was so expensive. It was $56,000, and then they reduced it to $28,000 for a year for a patient. So this is how expensive prescriptions can be, and everybody on Medicare Part B had to pay part of the premium increase to pay for prescriptions. Or in this case, this one prescription had a large cost and raised the Medicare Part B cost of living increase. So they're saying that now, because the cost has been reduced significantly, and also $28,000 is still ridiculously expensive. But the other thing is that there's not a lot of people taking it because you have to be in a clinical trial, and honestly, the results are not even, they're iffy as well. So who knows if it'll even be approved next year or not. But there's a possibility that this could offset a lot of the cost raises for Medicare Part B for next year, which would be a good thing. But when you think about, even if you're not taking any prescription drugs or taking very minimal, you only pay a few dollars for your prescriptions, you're paying for them in a lot of different ways. You're paying for them maybe if you're on Medicare, your Medicare Part B, your increases every year, your monthly premiums. You're paying for them in your healthcare costs, just your monthly premiums there as well. A lot of that stuff is built in. So if we see a bill like this passed, it would lower your healthcare costs, possibly overall. So this is a really good thing. Remember that on average, Americans pay 2.5 times more for the same prescriptions than other countries. So the exact same prescriptions made by the exact same pharmaceutical companies, the U.S. just pays 2.5 times more for them. So something needs to be done, and we can't let big pharmaceutical companies and big oil companies just buy the votes in Congress and just get away with this like they have for years and years and years, because it's the American people that are paying for this stuff. So I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, do so now. Just click the subscribe button. It's completely free to do so. This way you won't miss out on new videos when they come out here. And then click the bell icon, which is right next to the subscribe button after you subscribe, so you get notifications when we go live. You can click here to see my newest video about stimulus checks that are coming out in July. And here's my new video about what Nancy Pelosi just did. I know it's pretty crazy. So if you haven't seen one of those videos yet, click on that next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.